Producer dude, people at sports shows have been yelling that we have not been doing a good job of keeping track of questions, and that's why we are not even in the same place. Normally we do these in the boat, right? I think this is the first time we've ever done them from the home studio.
Yeah, you've been slacking. You've definitely been.
Is it really me? Your beard is seriously, you look like a Duck Dynasty guy.
It's my Capital Rioter beard, or my Gretchen Whitmer kidnapper beard.
I didn't know what the first one meant. I'm with you on the second one, your little Hitler governor or whatever you got going on there. But yeah, did they not they don't let you get trims now, or you have scissors all over taken away? Or what?
It's not going to last much longer. I've never had it this big.
I'm kind of digging it. You look like a homeless guy meets Duck Dynasty.
I look like because it's the same color as yours and it's that big. I look like the guy from is it Rudolph? What's that guy? The big red
Kris Kringle?
Kris Kringle, maybe. I don't remember the character, but that's who I look like right now.
Anyway. Yeah, so what do we have? The people got some questions. We're going to try to get back to them because we're encouraging the questions, even though some of them I roll my eyes. I'm not going to lie to you. But we've got some really good ones on there. I looked through a few of them. So fire at me here, and let's do our best.
So Jim Wagner wants to know about snowmobiles and what do you recommend to replace the Nebulous?
The Nebulous. So people that maybe don't know what that is, it was basically like this little, it was like a little suitcase looking thing. And if you've paid attention to like our Idaho video, it was a big red thing with a yellow pull handle. It basically you attach it to your machine and it would float up when you pull the basically emergency cord. And so you could use it as like a life raft, and on alternative, it would help you float your machine so you wouldn't lose it. Unfortunately, I believe they went out of business / had some issues. I don't know if legalities or whatever, but you can't even get the recharging things for them anymore. So if you do pull it, you're kind of screwed that you can't basically put the parachute back together, if you will. To my knowledge, there is nothing, and I'm sure it's just some type of legality thing where, a lot of insurance or something involved and not enough people buying them. So unfortunately, I do not have a good answer for you, Mr. Wagner. If you do hear of one, please let me know. I work with the ICE team, and to my knowledge, nobody has gotten an alternative yet.
All right. Knifeaholic is this next guy's name. Ooh. Knifeaholic with dashes too. So he's grammatically correct.
Well, little teaser. If he's a knifeaholic, he might want to listen to a podcast we have with a buddy of mine, Captain Mike, coming up.
Yeah, that we just recorded. So this has to do with the December walleye fishing trip we took right there at the end of the year, the last trip we took. And he wants to know if you are on the lake by Katy Perry. So I'm assuming that was auto spell.
Camp Perry. Yeah.
Camp Perry, not Katy Perry. Not Katy Perry.
I can't believe you even gave me this question. We do not tell you where we're at, and there's a reason, because whether it's other buddies or maybe we're chartering at that point. But we appreciate you guys following. We want to help you and give you information, but you can imagine when we put these things on something like the YouTube or the webs, it tends to get a little more popular, and people get a little upset with us that are fishing in those areas. So that's why we don't do that, generally speaking. But we do fish in front of that. But we were not at that particular time.
Do you even know who Katy Perry is? That's my
Katy Perry. I let that go right over. Even
totally did.
I do know who Katy Perry is.
That's
yes.
the only reason I brought it up. I thought it was funny.
And she does. Right. She's actually pretty funny.
Right over your head. She's funny.
Yeah, I think. Okay. Yeah, I've seen things with her. I don't really watch much TV or anything.
She's a singer, right? You realize?
Yes, but
she does act too. You're right.
She does. She's one of those that's not seemingly as serious or Hollyweird. It looks like. I mean, I think she's probably crazy, but if you watch some of her stuff, she seems to kind of like joke around and just.
What are your thoughts on Carrie Underwood? No, I'm kidding. We went way off the rails there. Anyways, okay.
I can appreciate what you're doing though. I can. I mean, she's kind of hot, right? But she's probably crazy too.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
Okay. Kent Weatherwax. And this is more of a question for me. He says he can't get his dad to go out on Erie because he gets seasick, other than on flat, calm days. What is producer dude's method? So I'm going to go ahead and answer that.
Kent is, he fishes with us. He fishes with the Bigwater Guide Service. Producer dude, you are the man. This is there's never been a question more teed up for you than this one.
So as you people may know, I did pass out one time due to seasickness.
Could we overlay that video, please?
Well, I'd like to forget that video at this point. But anyways, so I used to do the Dramamine, the Bonine, all that stuff, and I literally, which worked to a point, but I literally would have to stop and take a nap on the way home. I would be that tired and exhausted. So I tried one of those electronic bands. They do work. Definitely has made going out with Ross a little more tolerable. Now, if they only made a band that kind of shut Ross up a little bit, that would be the ultimate. So
wow. So
yeah,
a little more on that. It's they go on your wrist, but they have to be the ones that have the pulse, not just the pressure point.
right, correct. Electronic, yeah. They shoot a little bit of a pulse, and you feel it in your fingers. It
And
shoots it through your fingers.
And since your success with those, I've talked with people and they have many different models. I don't have enough great feedback because you never really know. But I mean, they have some waterproof ones now. There's several different
Yeah.
series, but I have had people have some great success with that. If you're just doing a one and done or something, I would tell you if you're fishing with me, the best thing that I found is taking a healthy dose of that Dramamine before bed the night before, so it's thoroughly in your system. But as that day progresses, it kind of gets out of your system, and so you're not as drowsy for the fishing trip. That seems to be another option, and maybe not as good, but another option.
All right. Nick Coburn wants to know that he noticed that he never sees you use the twisted line loop method to release the front clip on the planer boards. Is there a reason for that?
Nick, I think he probably was before this, but we just left a boat show or seminar series there, and that was a hot topic. I don't like that method. I do a few different things that you'll be seeing us show here probably this year. But I don't like, part of it's just philosophy, and when you're guiding and you don't want things to come out when you don't want them to, because now you can't control and you got fish on top of each other. But I just know a lot of guys, the way that I fish, lose a lot because when you're popping anything, that's a bad situation. So I don't want to jerk things intentionally. Me and producer Drew, you watch this slow, steady reeling what he gets annoyed at. So you can imagine why I wouldn't want to pop the rod.
So, I mean, what do you use? Someone else, Andy McGraw, wanted to know, do you have a preferred method of doing that?
Yeah, I mean, I do it the hard way, but there is no good alternative. If you're running a lot of lines, kind of just like the things if you watched our Dipsy video. So I keep the tension on the Dipsies tighter too, so I manually release those. And if you watch our Dipsy video, we had either 4 lines out with 4 fish on or 5 lines out with 5 fish on at a time. And you can imagine if those all would trip at the same time and go, right back, they'd all basket weave together. And it's kind of the same thing with the board deal. So we've got some of the stuff, if you watch some of our board videos, we've kind of talked about this, where I just basically will float lines back if we have crankbaits around things, and just knowing where your baits are at and knowing where the leads are at. I know this is kind of a hard thing to describe. Will determine, you have to know, like, hey, there's 100 feet of line out on this one and 20 on this one, what's going to catch? And the reality is you probably have to learn the hard way and have a lot of heartache and have some tangles in order to know what you can get away with. And part of that's just what we do every day. And so we know what we can get away with based on the conditions.
All right. Colin Selvig wants to know, do you run your longest? I feel like I ask this question a lot. Do you run your longest lead inside without weight? Some people have said to run the longest lead outside when you're not using snap weights. Just wondering what the correct way is.
There's not a correct way or an incorrect way. The thing is this is it's a simple question, but it's a complex answer, because I always say, if you watched our stuff, it's like it's a chest type answer, and it's not a checkers type question, because there's so many different things. So, if a guy is running, weights, all of a sudden you can't get away with what you did if you're not running weights, because lines can't be floated back. They're going to sink on top of the other fish. If you're running big boards, your leads have to be pretty close together so that fish clears out, where the advantage of running some inline boards is, you can run a super high line and a super deep line, but you have to accommodate for that. So I personally run the shallowest stuff on the outside, because I've just seen too many times where you don't get bit. If I'm running a line 5 or 6 feet down, I don't want that 20 feet from my boat. I want that far, far away from the boat. And inversely, you know, if we're running something really deep, so maybe it's a snap weight or maybe it's something we're run right on the bottom, I don't want that line to be, you know, 150 feet away from the boat, because now if I get a junk fish or I hang up on the bottom or I break off, I don't want to have to work around all my other lines to accommodate that. So in a certain aspect, if you're open water fishing, having a deep, you know, your deepest lines on the outside could make clearing some things a little bit easier. But I feel like the extra work is worth it because of just the actual catching and actually bigger problems that you can have for those reasons. So it's a really complex answer to what would seemingly be a simple question.
All right, that's all we've got right now. So just ask your questions, Ross. Ross, if he doesn't get to it on YouTube, we do these videos and we do answer them. We try to educate everybody. So
we haven't been as timely as we have been in the past, but please carry on and ask us something, get detail, and we'll try to get detail back with you.